We begin tonight with breaking news out of Springfield, where police are responding to a shooting on Glenwood Street. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on this Tuesday evening and Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano. Police tell Western Mass News they did receive calls a little after 4 today. A car and a house were hit by gunfire. There are no reports of any injuries or suspects at this time. The incident still under investigation. Stick with Western Mass News both on air and online for the latest as it comes into our newsroom. New fallout in Holyoke tonight as one city councilor rebukes another councilor's call for an investigation initiative into the city's mayor and congressional candidate Alex Morse. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis is live for us outside Holyoke City Hall with more. Leon?
Chris, in the action followed by Holyoke City Councilor Libby Hernandez, she says that fellow councilor Michael Sullivan shared fabricated allegations of sexual misconduct against Holyoke Mayor Alex Morse. She says that the timing of Sullivan's statements and filings shows unethical intentions to interfere with the primary race between Democratic Congressman Richard Neal and Morse. All of this comes as an independent investigation is underway into allegations that Morse had sexual relationships with students while he was teaching at UMass Amherst. Morse denies any wrongdoing. Hernandez tells Western Mass News she wants Sullivan censored for the remarks made against Morse, that he publicly apologizes, and that all the councilors retract their endorsement of a petition to initiate an investigation.
Having our resources, government, officials investing their time in part of an attack, because what happened with this was that Councilor Sullivan took this opportunity, this vicious attack against our honorable mayor Alex Morse, to instigate and to further try to damage the reputation of something that is all allegations.
Councilor Michael Sullivan tells Western Mass News in a statement, Councilor Libby Hernandez is a longtime Morse supporter. She is entitled to her opinion. Hernandez wants the action to rebuke this investigation initiative brought up at the September 16th City Council meeting. Live in Holyoke, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Leon, thank you for that live report. In-person early voting begins Saturday for the September 1st primary. Secretary of the Commonwealth, Bill Galvin, says every safety precaution is being taken to make sure voters and poll workers remain safe. Beth Ward joins us now live with the very latest. Beth?
Well, Chris, Secretary Galvin earlier today saying that polling places will be safer than many grocery stores will be, in his words. The Secretary speaking earlier today during a press briefing, telling the polling places are equipped with such things as plastic dividers for voters and plenty of PPE for poll workers. It's part of a new law signed last month by Governor Charlie Baker to expand early voting.
Early voting in person for this primary will begin on Saturday. Every community is required to have early voting hours, and in fact, early voting hours on the weekend are also mandated. This will afford voters another opportunity to participate in the primary election without having concern about significant crowds.
Well, cities and towns are required to hold 7 days of early voting for the September 1st primary election, running this Saturday, the 22nd, to Friday, August 28th. Now, there are also expanded days to vote early ahead of the November 3rd general election from Saturday, October 17th to Friday, October 30th. In the meantime, more than 1 million voters in the Bay State have requested to receive a mail-in ballot. Galvin says close to 150,000 ballots have already been mailed back. Now, Galvin also says that every community throughout the state is being urged to require secure lock boxes for those who did request those mail-in ballots and don't want to return them back in the mail. And he is requesting that those also be set up during early voting starting this weekend on Saturday. Chris, back to you.
Beth, thank you for that live report. Now, beginning tomorrow, student move-in at UMass Amherst will look a whole lot different than in years past. The school is strictly limiting students on campus to only those whose classes require in-person instruction. Many other students making the decision to live off campus, but close to the town of Amherst to complete their remote coursework. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us now more with this story. Audrey.
UMass officials telling us this afternoon they're expecting about 200 students to move on campus beginning tomorrow through Sunday. They've released an instructional video for students, and from the looks of it, the move-in process is going to be fairly quick. They're only going to have 2 hours to move everything in. Now, the Amherst Town Councilor who I spoke with says her focus and concern is more on the students who are going to be completing remote coursework off campus, but still living in or near the town.
I wanted to make sure I was in a position where I knew I would be safe, as well as a position where I could keep the people around me safe.
Gabriella Grondoleski will be starting her senior year at UMass Amherst remotely. She's moving in with a family member who lives in Western Mass. Grondoleski made the decision to complete her remote coursework close to the school in case the COVID-19 pandemic improves and she's allowed to return to campus in any capacity. Until then, she says her classmates have talked about engaging with their college town in a safe, socially distanced way.
They're still planning on getting takeout and such and bringing it home, but they're not planning on having gatherings with friends.
A lot of people who go downtown say, yeah, no, they're wearing masks.
Western Mass News spoke over the phone with Dorothy Pam, an Amherst Town Council member. She says they're considering a bylaw that would limit the size of gatherings in the town beyond the governor's order of 8 people per 1,000 square feet. Pam says one thing that's holding up the decision, the uncertainty of whether remote UMass students will still choose to live off campus in the town.
Not knowing whether or not we're going to get a large influx is, I believe, part of the problem.
As they consider their decision, Pam says they want to send a message to students that they're still welcome in Amherst, provided they follow mask orders and social distancing.
So there is hoping that young people, particularly college students, will be interested in working at the polls. And, it's another example of how Amherst is a college town. And Amherst depends upon, relies upon, and looks forward to its students.
Now, this year, all UMass Amherst students must get a COVID-19 test at the Mullins Center before they check into their residence halls. They're asked to arrive at the Mullins Center 30 minutes before their scheduled move-in time. Reporting live, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you. Now, here's a quick look at today's numbers for COVID-19 cases. So far, the state reporting 175 new cases for a total number of 114,786. There were also 6 more deaths reported today. The statewide death toll now stands at 8,617. And for more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it develops, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app. Massachusetts has seen 2 cases this year of the rare and potentially deadly virus known as Eastern equine encephalitis, EEE. Western Mass News getting answers tonight, speaking with the state's epidemiologist about how this has affected Hampden County and what the rest of mosquito season could look like during the pandemic. Western Mass News reporter Sarah Granelli is live now with more on that. Sarah?
Chris, as you can imagine, it's a stressful time dealing with the pandemic, and now EEE making its way to Western Mass this year. And right now we are in the middle of mosquito season.
Along with the COVID-19 pandemic, Massachusetts is dealing with Eastern equine encephalitis, a rare mosquito-borne virus that state epidemiologist Dr. Janna Brown says happens in cycles.
EEE tends to occur in outbreaks in Massachusetts that will last 2 to 3 years. And 2019 was the first year of our current outbreak cycle.
In 2019, 12 people in Massachusetts had EEE with 6 deaths. This year, 2 people have been tested positive for the virus, 1 in Plymouth County, and most recently, a person in Hampden County.
It's not one of our historic hotspots, but I would say that this is an area where we have sort of increasing concern that EEE activity is going to become more common here.
Dr. Brown tells Western Mass News it's unclear how many people will get EEE during the pandemic.
Some people are staying indoors more, due to COVID, but I think there are also, because we know that fresh air and, being outside actually reduces transmission. I mean, as long as you're not in large groups, right? There may be there may be some people that are spending more time outside. So I think we don't really know which way that's going to go for us this year.
Triple E comes with flu-like symptoms similar to the signs of coronavirus. However, Dr. Brown says Triple E develops quickly, potentially affecting your brain.
And it's more often a respiratory disease, although not exclusively, right? Triple E really is different. It's like it may start out slow with those flu-like symptoms, but it's a virus that invades the central nervous system very rapidly. And so you tend to see pretty rapid changes in mental status, confusion, progressing maybe to seizures, and sometimes even coma. So I think that while the initial symptoms may overlap, that they diverge pretty quickly.
So far, there is no vaccine for Triple E. Dr. Brown advises for people to wear long sleeves and pants when they're heading outside, as well as bug spray. And she also says if you live in a high-risk area, to make sure you head inside when the sun goes down. For reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Sarah Gurnelli.
Sarah, thank you for that live report. An announcement coming out today, late this afternoon. No fans will be allowed to attend Patriots games at least through September at this point. Western Mass News reporter Kayla Burton joins us live in studio to tell us when you Pats fans could be cheering on your favorite team back at Gillette Stadium, hopefully at some point in person. Kayla.
Chris, hopefully. Officials say no fans right now will be able to be allowed at the Patriots home opener September the 13th and against Miami Dolphins or against the Raiders on the 27th. Now, officials say this decision comes after consulting with the Massachusetts Reopening Advisory Board. This news isn't just for Patriots fans, but also soccer fans. Gillette Stadium officials say the Revolution's home matches coming up will also be played without fans. Officials say in a statement released earlier today, quote, "This decision is in the interest of public safety. We would have welcomed the opportunity to host fans in August and September, but are hopeful to do so later on in the season." Now, officials tell Western Mass News while working with numerous health experts throughout the months, they have developed a detailed plan and say that they are confident in their ability to provide a safe and comfortable environment for fans possibly as early as October. And for those of you who have purchased tickets for the September games, good news, you will be refunded. Officials are communicating directly with the ticket holders regarding this matter. Now, coming up later tonight on Western Mass News, we'll have more on how the Patriots are still gearing up for their first game, which is less than a month away, by the way, despite all of these circumstances. So stay tuned for that. For now in studio, Kayla Burton, Western Mass News.
Lots of sunshine out there this evening, comfortably warm, 82 degrees, but dew points have dropped into the upper 40s, and we have a nice breeze out of the west. It doesn't get a whole lot better than this as far as summer weather goes. No wet weather. There has been this one little shower moving along the Route 2 corridor, may have put down a couple of sprinkles, but it looks like the air is just a little too dry for any rain out there today. Skies remain clear into this evening, allowing temperatures to cool off quickly down to 70 by 9 p.m. and mid-60s by 11. Early tomorrow morning, I think we'll start off in the lower to middle 50s, but temperatures warm quickly with abundant sunshine. Some scattered clouds through the afternoon with temperatures getting back into the middle and upper 70s. Now, the heat and humidity will be back before you know it. We'll talk about when in just a few minutes. Chris?
Janna, thanks. Now, just ahead on this Tuesday, how the pandemic is raising the value of used cars all across the country. And what you can expect from night 2 of the Democratic National Convention. We'll be right back.